What if the secret to staying young wasn't locked inside a lab or hidden in an expensive serum, but already within you, waiting to be awakened in just 5 seconds? It sounds impossible, doesn't it? 5 seconds can't change anything, or can it? What if that tiny window of time holds a hidden switch, one that reawakens your body's natural intelligence? The same intelligence that keeps your heart beating and your cells renewing even while you sleep. Jacobo Grinberg, a man often called the Einstein of consciousness, believed the human mind could reshape physical reality. He spent decades studying how thoughts, perception, and energy intertwine to form what we call life. And buried within his notes and experiments lies something extraordinary, a simple, almost forgotten practice, so brief that most people overlook its power entirely. This isn't just another anti-aging trick, it's a reminder that you are not separate from the forces that regenerate and heal. According to Grinberg, the body is not aging because of time alone. It's aging because of disconnection, a loss of synchronization with the lattice of consciousness that sustains us. And when you reconnect, even for a few seconds, you reactivate the field that slows decay, renews vitality, and restores balance. Imagine this: you standing still, eyes closed, one focused breath, one small motion, and suddenly something inside you stirs. It's subtle but real, a pulse, a warmth, a clarity. This is not mysticism, it's a reminder of your biological intelligence, a bridge between the measurable and the mysterious. Grinberg's research hinted that consciousness could shape neurons, influence the body's electromagnetic field, and even alter perception of time itself. What if that was the real anti-aging secret? Not resisting time, but bending your relationship with it. In this video, you'll uncover a hidden 5-second exercise inspired by Jacobo Grinberg's studies on the unity of mind and body. You'll learn how this micro-practice stimulates your cells, enhances circulation, and most importantly, realigns your awareness with your inner field of energy. You'll discover how ancient practices and modern science silently agree. It's not the duration of effort that matters most, but the precision of presence. You'll also understand why Grinberg's work was silenced, why his disappearance in 1994 remains one of the greatest scientific mysteries in modern history. Some say he vanished after crossing a line between science and the metaphysical. Others believe he simply merged with the very field he studied. Whatever the truth is, his teachings remain quietly circulating among those who seek to awaken the forgotten power of the human mind. So before you scroll away or dismiss this as just another wellness video, stay with me, because what you'll learn here won't just change how you think about aging, it may change how you experience your own consciousness. And once you understand how a 5-second act can shift your body's rhythm, you'll realize that youth was never lost. It was simply unawakened. Welcome to Awaken Synchronicity, a space where science meets spirit, where the teachings of Jacobo Grinberg come alive to remind you of who you truly are. Energy, awareness, and infinite potential. If you're ready to discover this hidden exercise and understand how your mind might hold the key to timeless vitality, make sure to stay till the end, because each second of this video is part of the experience. And before we begin, take a moment, breathe, and subscribe to Awaken Synchronicity. Join thousands of awakened minds exploring the mysteries that connect thought, energy, and reality itself. The journey to your ageless self begins right now. Before we talk about the hidden 5-second exercise itself, we need to understand the man behind the mystery, Jacobo Grinberg. Because without knowing who he was, it's impossible to grasp how something so simple could carry such depth. Jacobo Grinberg wasn't your typical scientist. Born in Mexico City in 1946, he grew up questioning everything, not out of rebellion, but curiosity. When he was 12, his mother passed away, and that single event changed the direction of his life. While most would seek comfort in the material world, Jacobo turned inward. He began exploring consciousness, asking questions that few scientists dared to ask. What is reality? How does the mind create it? And can thought itself shape matter? He studied psychology at the National Autonomous University of Mexico, but his true education came from far beyond the classroom. He traveled through rural villages, meeting shamans, healers, and mystics. Among them was the legendary healer Pachita, a woman said to perform surgeries using only her hands and pure intent. Jacobo didn't approach her as a believer or a skeptic. He approached her as a researcher. He observed her healings, measured her energy, and documented phenomena that modern science could barely explain. Out of these encounters grew something remarkable, the synergy theory. It was Jacobo's way of bridging science and spirituality. He proposed that all things, thoughts, emotions, even the physical body, exist as part of a unified lattice of consciousness. In this lattice, everything is connected and everything communicates. What we call reality, according to Grinberg, is simply the result of our brain interacting with this field. Change the interaction and you change your experience, even your biology. This is where the story begins to touch on something far greater than ordinary research. Because if consciousness truly shapes the body, then perhaps the way we perceive ourselves determines how we age, heal, and evolve. Jacobo believed aging wasn't only a biological process, it was an energetic one. When the connection between mind and lattice weakens, vitality fades, but when we re-establish that connection, even briefly, the flow of energy returns and the body begins to repair. Hidden within his notes and lectures, scattered between pages of his research on perception and meditation, there are hints, subtle references to micro-practices that influence this connection. He described moments of intentional stillness, precise awareness, and a synchronization of breath within a focus. He never called them anti-aging exercises, but when you read closely, you begin to see what he was pointing to. Short bursts of conscious alignment that recalibrate the entire system. It's easy to miss because Jacobo rarely gave simple how-to instructions. He spoke in patterns, metaphors, and layered meanings, perhaps intentionally. Maybe he believed that whoever was ready would understand without being told direct, or perhaps he feared that the knowledge could be misused or misunderstood. Either way, the exercise we're about to explore seems to have been hidden in plain sight, embedded within his descriptions of consciousness synchronization. To most people, 5 seconds means nothing, a blink, a pause between thoughts. But in Grinberg's language, even a single moment of complete awareness could open a doorway to the lattice. He compared the human brain to an antenna, constantly broadcasting and receiving frequencies from this universal field. The problem, he said, is that most people live in static, endless noise from emotions, fears, and distractions. The 5-second alignment acts like a reset, tuning the signal back to clarity. Imagine what that means. If your brain, your cells, your perception of time all depend on the quality of this connection, then the smallest act of conscious focus could ripple across your entire being. That's what Jacobo implied. Not through effort, but through synchronization. Not by forcing the body to change, but by reminding it of its original blueprint, the state of balance it was designed to hold. Of course, few people ever got to study this work directly. Much of Jacobo's research disappeared with him in 1994, when he mysteriously vanished just before publishing what he claimed would be his most important findings. His disappearance remains unsolved. Some say he was silenced. Others say he crossed into the field he studied and never came back. What remains are fragments, interviews, transcripts, journals, scattered clues left for those willing to see beyond the obvious. And within those fragments lies this idea of micro-connection, short, intentional acts that harmonize body and mind with the lattice. He hinted that the key wasn't duration or intensity, but precision and presence. A brief moment done correctly could realign the flow of energy that keeps the cells young, the heart balanced and the mind awake. So before we move forward, hold this thought. Jacobo Grinberg may not have left behind a single formula or technique. Instead, he left a map, a way of seeing yourself not as separate from the world, but as an extension of its living consciousness. And within that map hides a simple 5-second exercise, a key that might just unlock your body's timeless intelligence. Aging. It's something we all face, and yet most of us fight it as if it were an enemy. We spend billions each year chasing youth, creams, supplements, machines, injections. But beneath the surface, aging is not just about wrinkles or fatigue. It's about disconnection, the gradual loss of harmony between your body's systems and your mind's awareness. Before we talk about the hidden 5-second exercise, let's understand why it matters. Because once you see what's really happening inside your body, you'll realize how something so small could make such a difference. As the years pass, the first signs appear quietly. The skin begins to sag, not only because of lost collagen, but because of slower cellular communication. Cells stop talking to each other with the same rhythm they once had. Then there's the mind, sharpness fading, memory slipping, attention drifting. These are signs of neural fatigue, a kind of fog that builds up when energy flow within the brain weakens. Hormones, once balanced like an orchestra, begin to play out of tune. Cortisol rises, sleep weakens, recovery slows, and at the very core of it all, the mitochondria, the tiny powerhouses inside your cells, begin to lose their spark. They stop converting energy efficiently, and without that, every function of your body starts to slow down. Mainstream solutions try to patch the surface, creams tighten the skin, pills adjust hormones, treatments boost short-term performance, but most of them treat the symptoms, not the source. They're expensive, invasive, and often temporary, because the real issue lies deeper, not in the body alone, but in the communication between the body and the field of consciousness that sustains it. Jacobo Grinberg once wrote that every organ, every cell, every neuron is a point of light connected to an infinite web of energy. When that web flows freely, the body regenerates naturally. When it's blocked, decay begins. And this is where the 5-second exercise enters the picture, not as a miracle, but as a bridge. Now modern science is slowly catching up to what mystics like Grinberg already intuited. In recent studies published in the Public Library of Science (PMC), scientists found that even minimal physical movements, micro-contractions lasting seconds, can activate mitochondrial repair and boost circulation. They observed that gentle but intentional movements stimulate the body's repair response, increasing nitric oxide, oxygen flow, and the release of regenerative enzymes. Another study from Brigham Young University found that people who maintained even small amounts of daily movement had cells that appeared up to 9 years younger than those who were sedentary. The scientists discovered that exercise, even at low intensity, preserved telomeres, the protective caps at the ends of our DNA strands. When telomeres shorten, we age faster. When they stay long, we stay youthful. This means that the body doesn't just respond to effort, it responds to activation. You don't need an hour-long workout or complex machinery. Sometimes all it takes is presence, a moment where the brain and body reconnect, signaling to the cells that life is flowing again. This is what makes the 5-second exercise so powerful. It operates on both dimensions, the biological and the energetic. In Jacobo Grinberg's view, the body is not separate from consciousness, it's a mirror of it. Every thought sends a vibration through the nervous system. Every feeling shifts the electromagnetic frequency of your cells. This means aging isn't just about time passing, it's about how we use our attention. Most people live scattered, their focus divided among fears, regrets, and endless stimulation. The body mirrors this fragmentation with fatigue, stiffness, and decline. But when you gather your focus, even for 5 seconds, something incredible happens. The field realigns. The neurons synchronize. The body's electrical circuits harmonize with your awareness. Grinberg called this process synergy. synchronization between the inner and outer realities. And when it happens, the flow of vitality returns. Now, let's explore the actual technique, the hidden 5-second exercise, the one we'll call the micropulse. You don't need any equipment. You don't need a special place. What you need is presence. First, stand or sit comfortably. Straighten your spine. Let your shoulders relax and take one deep breath in. Feel your body not as flesh and bone, but as vibration, alive, electric. Close your eyes if you wish. Now, bring your attention to the center of your chest, the point where you feel your breath, your heartbeat, your presence. Imagine this point as a small pulse of light. On your next inhale, imagine that light expanding outward. As you exhale, imagine it condensing, becoming brighter, denser, more alive. Here's where the physical part begins. While holding your awareness in that point, gently contract your core. Not hard, just enough to feel a subtle tension building near your solar plexus. Hold that contraction and your breath together for 5 seconds. Don't force it, don't rush, just be there. In those 5 seconds, focus completely on the energy inside that space. Feel it compressing, concentrating, vibrating. It's like charging a battery, your own internal circuit. Then release the contraction and exhale slowly. Let everything relax. Notice the flow that follows, the warmth, the tingling, the wave that moves through your body. That's one cycle. 5 seconds of activation. You can repeat this up to 5 times a day, morning, midday, before sleep, or whenever you feel drained. It's short enough that you can do it anywhere, sitting in your car, standing in line, or between tasks. What's happening in those 5 seconds is more than a physical contraction. On the biological level, it's increasing circulation, sending oxygen to your cells, and waking up your mitochondria. The microtension and release signal your nervous system that you are alive and alert. Your body responds by refreshing cellular communication, the same communication that declines with age. On the energetic level, something deeper occurs. The contraction and focus act as an antenna alignment. You're retuning your frequency to the lattice of consciousness. The light you visualized in your chest expands through your energy field, harmonizing your inner rhythm with the universal pulse that Grinberg believed connects all living beings. This is why it works. You are bridging 2 dimensions at once, the physical and the energetic, the measurable and the invisible. For Grinberg, this was the true art of transformation, not to fight against biology, but to awaken the intelligence behind it. You might not see immediate changes after the first try, but you will feel something, maybe calmness, warmth, or mental clarity. With consistent practice, that feeling grows. Your stress responses soften, your breathing deepens, your face relaxes, your body starts to remember youth not as an appearance, but as a frequency. Grinberg believed that when awareness becomes concentrated, even for a few seconds, it sends coherence through the brain's electrical patterns. EEG studies he conducted showed that when 2 people meditated together, their brain waves began to synchronize. This same principle applies within you. Your organs, cells, and systems begin to synchronize with the rhythm of your awareness. In simple terms, the micro-pulse reawakens communication. Between neurons, between organs, between you and the field of consciousness itself. Science explains it one way, through improved oxygenation, mitochondrial activation, and parasympathetic balance. Grinberg explained it another, through consciousness alignment and the return to the original pattern of harmony. But both point to the same truth. Small, mindful actions can shift the entire system. And that's the power of this hidden 5-second exercise. It doesn't demand hours of effort or blind belief. It only asks for presence, the one thing that modern life constantly pulls away from you. Every time you practice it, you're reminding your body that it's part of something greater, a living, intelligent field. You're telling yourselves to listen again, to awaken, to reconnect. And with that connection, youth is not something you chase. It's something you remember. So how does this 5-second practice really work? How can something so brief touch the deep mechanisms of the body and mind? The answer lies in understanding what happens inside you, both physically and energetically, during those short moments of complete awareness. On the physical side, this simple microcontraction activates what scientists call microcirculation. Every time you contract and release a muscle, even slightly, you squeeze tiny blood vessels, capillaries, and then allow them to refill. That gentle pulse sends a rush of oxygen and nutrients through the tissues while removing stagnant energy and waste. It's like pressing a reset button for your internal flow. When you combine that with focused breathing and awareness, the effect multiplies. Oxygen intake increases, your heart rhythm steadies, and your nervous system moves from fight or flight to rest and repair. It might seem small, but the body interprets these signals as safety, and in a state of safety, the body starts repairing itself. Now, what makes this practice truly unique is how it also works on the energetic side, a level that Jacobo Grinberg devoted his life to studying. In his research, he proposed that consciousness isn't just something that happens in the brain. It's a field, an invisible network that interacts with every cell, every atom. He called it the neuronal field, a space where energy and information meet. When you perform this 5-second pulse with full attention, you create what Grinberg described as a synchronization moment. The contraction becomes the physical anchor, while your awareness becomes the energetic key. Together, they spark coherence between the brain and the body, like tuning two instruments to the same note. That spark, subtle as it may seem, reawakens the communication between the physical structure and the field of consciousness that sustains it. Think of it as lighting a match in the dark. The flame itself is small, but it changes everything around it. The same happens here. 5 seconds of total presence can trigger a cascade of changes: improved blood flow, calmer brain waves, balanced hormones, and a rise in mental clarity. Biology supports this principle. Small, precise inputs can create large effects. Scientists call it the butterfly effect of biology. One clear example is hormesis, where mild stressors like brief exercise or cold exposure stimulate the body to grow stronger. This 5-second micropulse is a similar form of gentle activation, not stress that breaks you down, but a signal that wakes you up. Jacobo would say that this tiny act reminds your cells of their purpose, to stay in harmony with the larger field of life. It's not about forcing change, but about tuning in. That's why intention matters. If you do the exercise mindlessly, it becomes just another movement. But when you do it with awareness, it becomes communication, your consciousness speaking to your body in its own language. Now, as with any practice, there are common mistakes that can limit its power or even create discomfort. The first mistake is overdoing it. Some people hear about a 5-second exercise and decide to hold their breath for 30 seconds or contract every muscle they can. That's not the point. The power lies in precision, not intensity. 5 seconds is enough. Doing more only builds tension, not awareness. The second mistake is poor posture. If your spine is bent or your neck is strained, the energy can't flow freely. The body is an antenna. The clearer your alignment, the cleaner the signal. So always keep your spine relaxed, yet upright, your shoulders soft, and your jaw unclenched. The third mistake is confusing tension with focus. This isn't about squeezing your muscles as hard as you can. It's about subtle engagement, a controlled micro-contraction. If you find yourself holding unnecessary tension in your face or neck, release it. The energy should move, not get stuck. The fourth mistake is doing it without intention. Many people move through exercises mechanically, but the body listens to consciousness. If your mind is elsewhere, thinking about your phone, your day, your worries, the connection breaks. Before each micropulse, take a second to feel why you're doing it. Remind yourself, I'm reawakening connection, I'm aligning energy. That small shift changes everything. And finally, the biggest mistake of all, inconsistency. Transformation doesn't happen through one grand effort. It happens through small, repeated signals. Doing this once won't change much, but doing it every day, several times a day, teaches your body and mind a new rhythm. That's when the results start showing up. More calm, more focus, better sleep, brighter skin, deeper vitality. Now let's talk about integration, how to weave this into daily life so it becomes part of your natural rhythm. The beauty of this exercise is that it doesn't demand time. It creates it. You can do it in the morning before getting out of bed. Take a breath, focus on your chest and pulse. You can do it during the day, while sitting at your desk, waiting in traffic or walking outside. And before sleep, use it to calm your mind and anchor your awareness in your body. Pairing it with breathwork or short meditations makes it even more powerful. Try inhaling slowly through your nose as you contract, then exhaling through your mouth as you release. Feel the expansion and contraction as waves of energy. You can even pair it with affirmations, quiet phrases that align with the exercise's purpose. For example, every breath renews my cells, or my body is synchronized with the field of life. These words, when combined with intention, reinforce the message your body receives. If you like structure, track your practice. Use a journal or a simple note on your phone. Write down when you practiced, how you felt before and after, and any sensations or changes you noticed over time. Patterns will emerge. You'll start to see how your energy shifts throughout the day, and how those 5 seconds can anchor you when life feels chaotic. But remember, this is not a replacement for movement, nutrition, or rest. Think of it as an amplifier. If you eat well, sleep enough, and take care of your body, this exercise enhances your results. It strengthens communication within your system, allowing your efforts to ripple deeper. Jacobo Grinberg never told people to abandon logic or science. He encouraged balance, bridging the seen and unseen. So approach this practice with the same mindset. Stay grounded. If you have health issues or injuries, adapt the exercise gently. Listen to your body. If you feel dizzy or tense, stop and breathe. Respect your limits. This is not a race. Be patient. The changes it brings are subtle at first, softer tension in your face, slower thoughts, deeper sleep, but subtle doesn't mean small. Subtle is the language of the nervous system. It's how your cells communicate before anything becomes visible. Over time, these whispers turn into transformation. And most importantly, don't fall into the trap of hype. This 5-second exercise is not magic. It's a bridge, a way to restore harmony between your physical structure and your conscious awareness. It's a complement to your daily life, not a cure-all. It's a reminder that the most profound changes often come from the simplest acts. Grinberg believed that the body's intelligence is always listening. It doesn't need force. It needs coherence. When your awareness becomes coherent, your body follows. When your body follows, your life begins to flow in rhythm again. So, as you continue this practice, see it for what it is, a conversation. Each time you take those 5 seconds, you're saying to your body, I am here, I am aware, I am alive. And in response, the body begins to awaken, cell by cell, breath by breath, until what was once mechanical becomes sacred again. That's the quiet brilliance of this method. It doesn't require belief. It only requires attention. And attention, as Grinberg discovered, is the bridge between consciousness and creation. The more you give it, the more life responds. 5 seconds, a contraction, a breath, a spark. That's all it takes to remind your system of what it's meant to be, synchronized, awake, and alive within the infinite field that connects everything. So, what if just 5 seconds could shift the way your body and mind age? What if the secret isn't in complex routines or expensive treatments, but in a small, hidden tool that reconnects you to the field? Jacobo Grinberg spoke about the energetic web that shapes everything we are. This isn't fantasy or wishful thinking. It's grounded in Grinberg's worldview, where consciousness and biology are intertwined, and even the smallest act of awareness can ripple through the entire system. Those 5 seconds are more than a gesture. They are a reminder to your body that it's alive, intelligent, and capable of renewal. So here's your invitation. Try it for 14 days, just 5 seconds at a time. Practice it when you wake up, before you sleep, or in those quiet pauses during your day. Feel how your energy shifts. Notice how your awareness sharpens. Watch how calm, vitality, and presence begin to replace fatigue, tension, and distraction. These are the subtle signs that your consciousness is syncing back with your body. And remember, this isn't about forcing change. It's about remembering connection. That's the real essence of Jacobo Grinberg's teachings, that true transformation begins the moment you align your inner field with the greater field around you. When you begin to notice these small but powerful changes, come back and tell us. Comment your experience. What did you feel? What surprised you? Your insight might inspire someone else to begin their journey too. If this message resonated with you, don't forget to like this video. Share it with someone who's seeking natural ways to feel younger and more alive, and subscribe to our channel, Awakened Synchronicity. Together, we're uncovering the lost practices and consciousness technologies hidden within Jacobo Grinberg's work, tools that help us live with more energy, clarity, and harmony. And stay tuned, because in our next video, we'll go deeper into Grinberg's advanced methods, expanding this 5-second technique into a full practice that awakens your inner current and strengthens your connection to the field. Until then, remember, 5 seconds can change everything if you give them your full awareness. Try it, feel it, and let your own experience be the proof. Thank you for watching Awakened Synchronicity. Stay aware, stay aligned, and keep awakening.